Japan's legal milestone in the Nara period. The Yoro Code, Yonaruri Yoro Ritsuryo, is one of the most significant legal texts in early Japanese history, representing the culmination of the Ritsuryo legal system imported from Tang, China. Compiled during the early 8th century, specifically in 718 CE under Empress Gensho, and later finalized in 757 CE under Emperor Konin, the Yoro Code codified the administrative, criminal, and civil laws of the nascent Japanese state, reflecting the profound influence of Chinese legal and bureaucratic thought, while adapting it to the realities of Japanese society. Historical context. The Yoro Code emerged during the Nara period, 710 to 794 CE, a time when the Japanese imperial court sought to consolidate centralized authority. This period marked Japan's transition from a tribal, clan-based system to a structured state with a hierarchical bureaucracy. The adoption of Chinese-style institutions, including writing, Buddhism, and Confucian ethics, was central to these reforms. Among these imported ideas, the Tang legal code, specifically the Tang Code of 624 CE, served as the primary model for the Japanese Ritsuryo system, blending penal statutes, Ritsu, with administrative regulations, Ryo. Prior to the Yoro Code, Japan had compiled the Taihō Code 701 CE, the first formal attempt to codify law following the Chinese model. The Yoro Code was essentially a revision and refinement of the Taihō Code, incorporating lessons learned from its implementation and further adapting regulations to the Japanese context. The code is named after the Yoro era, 717 to 724 CE, during which the initial compilation occurred. Structure and content. The Yoro Code was divided into two main sections. 1. Ritsu, penal law. The Ritsu section defined criminal offenses and prescribed punishments. These laws drew heavily on Confucian notions of social order, moral conduct, and state authority. Offenses ranged from murder and theft to violations of court etiquette, with punishments including corporal punishment, exile, fines, or death. One notable feature was the emphasis on intent and social status in sentencing. Higher-ranking officials often received lighter penalties, while commoners faced stricter punishment. This reflected both the hierarchical nature of Japanese society and Confucian legal philosophy imported from China. 2. Ryo, administrative law. The Ryo section governed the bureaucratic, fiscal, and administrative aspects of the state. It outlined the organization of government offices, duties of officials, tax collection, land distribution, military service, and the census system. A key feature was the Handai system, which divided the population into units for taxation and conscription purposes. The Ryo also codified rules for provincial governors, district administrators, and village heads, ensuring central oversight over distant regions. The Yoro Code also emphasized agricultural regulation, including the allocation of rice fields, management of irrigation, and control over labor obligations. This reflected the court's recognition that economic stability was essential for political authority. Several aspects distinguish the Yoro Code within the history of Japanese law. 1. Codification and standardization. By codifying both criminal and administrative regulations, the Yoro Code established a uniform legal framework across Japan. This reduced the arbitrariness of local governance and provided clear guidelines for officials at all levels. 2. Integration of Confucian and Buddhist ethics. While primarily administrative, the code was imbued with ethical and moral principles. Confucian ideals of loyalty, filial piety, and social hierarchy underpinned the laws, while Buddhist precepts influenced laws relating to human life, punishment, and property rights. For example, certain offenses against monks or temples were treated with special severity. 3. Adaptation to Japanese society. Despite its Chinese origins, the Yoro Code reflected Japan's unique social realities. For instance, the system of uji clans and hereditary offices shaped local administration. Certain harsh Chinese punishments were softened, and the code incorporated local customs, demonstrating Japan's selective assimilation of foreign models. 4. Ritual and court regulations. A distinguishing feature of Japanese Ritsuryo law was the inclusion of court ceremonial rules. These regulations governed everything from imperial succession to the attire of officials and the proper conduct during rituals, highlighting the intertwining of law, politics, and religion in Nara, Japan. Implementation and influence. Although the Euro Code was officially promulgated in 757 CE, its practical application evolved over time. Initially, it provided a robust framework for governance, enabling the central court to monitor provinces, collect taxes efficiently, and maintain law and order. Officials at the local level were required to follow codified procedures, submit reports, and administer justice according to the code. However, the strict legalist approach gradually declined, especially as Japan's political and economic realities changed. By the late 8th century, the Ritsuryo system faced challenges such as aristocratic resistance, land disputes, and the growth of private estates, shoen, which eroded central authority. Nevertheless, the Euro Code continued to serve as a symbolic and formal reference for legal governance for several centuries, even if actual enforcement became uneven. Comparison with the Taihō Code. The Euro Code built upon the Taihō Code, but it reflected greater sophistication and adaptation. Key differences include revision of punishments. Some excessively harsh penalties in the Taihō Code were moderated. Expanded administrative regulations. The Euro Code provided more detail on provincial governance and tax collection. Ethical integration. The code more explicitly incorporated Confucian and Buddhist moral principles, emphasizing social harmony and proper conduct. In essence, the Euro Code represents a mature stage of Japan's early codification efforts, balancing imported Chinese legal principles with indigenous customs. The Euro Code left a lasting imprint on Japanese legal and administrative history. 1. Foundation of Ritsuryo Japan. The code solidified the Ritsuryo system as the framework for imperial governance, which would influence Japanese law until the 10th century. 2. Cultural and political influence. Beyond legal matters, the Euro Code influenced court rituals, bureaucratic etiquette, and social norms, embedding Confucian ideals into Japanese governance. 3. Reference for later codes. Subsequent codes, such as the Konin Code 810 CE, drew heavily from the Euro Code, demonstrating its enduring importance as a model for legislative reform. 4. Historical and scholarly value. Modern historians rely on the Euro Code to understand Nara period governance, social hierarchy, and the evolution of Japanese law. Even fragments and references in later texts provide insight into early Japanese statecraft. Conclusion. The Euro Code stands as a landmark achievement in Japan's legal history, symbolizing the integration of foreign influence and local adaptation. By combining the administrative precision of Chinese law with Japanese social and ethical realities, the code laid the foundation for a centralized, bureaucratically organized state. Although its practical enforcement waned over time, its symbolic and structural influence persisted for centuries, shaping both governance and legal consciousness in Japan. Today, the Euro Code remains a key subject of study for historians, legal scholars, and anyone interested in the early development of Japanese statecraft. Sources 1. Hall, J. W., 1970, Japan, From Prehistory to Modern Times, New York, Delacorte Press. 2. Conlon, T. D., 2003, State and Society in Early Medieval Japan, London, Routledge. Ferris, W. W., 1995, Heian Japan, Centers and Peripheries, Honolulu, University of Hawaii Press. 4. Shimada Y. 2001, Legal Codes and Governance in Early Japan, Tokyo, University of Tokyo Press. 5. Varley, H. P. 2000, Japanese Culture, Honolulu, University of Hawaii Press. 6. Bowring, R. 25, The Religious Traditions of Japan 500 to 1600, Cambridge, Cambridge University Press. Suggested